welcome to the second review of the evening. Up this time is Bone Marrow. Even though they're calling it Bone Marrow, it's basically 2048.
The gameplay is 2048. The game structure is different.
Right. Well, I guess reading from the points here. Bone Marrow is a game in the genre of role-playing board logic puzzles, which is a insanely specific genre. The game proposes to combine numbers in pairs, and these numbers have been paired with objects. Using their combination, you can create better weapons, shields, and potions, which will increase your attack and defense against the dark monsters. But a wrong move will have consequences. If you enjoy puzzles, medieval aesthetics, and elegantly straightforward gameplay, then Bone Marrow will save the day. Right. So, Galix, take us through Bone Marrow.
So 2048 is a very simple puzzle game on a square grid. I don't know if it's 5x5 or I think it's 4x4 actually, where you start out with a couple of ones, which you move them together and they combine into a 2. And when you do that, another thing appears. And then you combine those until you have 2. And then when you have 2 2s, you combine the 2s. And then as you go on, the board fills up. But your goal is to get a square that is worth 2048, which is 2 to the whateverth power 16th, I think.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Right. And how does it all shape up?
So in this game, you are a knight dude. There are 2 different knight dudes, but they are mechanically identical. I think the only reason there are 2 is because there is a 2-player mode, which unfortunately I was not able to try out. You are on, in most stages, a 5x5, but there is at least one 4x4 stage. I think there are 2 grid. And there are 3 types of items. There are food items, shields, and swords, each of which upgrades from 2 to 4 to 8 to 16. 16, I think, is the highest I've seen for any of them. And whenever you move, everything else on the board moves in the same direction. And anything that is the same value and the same type combines. During the night phases, I think it's night, that's all you can do. During the day phases, you can pick up the items that are around, but also enemies will appear that have their own level, hit points, weapon, and armor ratings. You on your own have one strength and a number of hit points depending on your level. But yeah, enemies will appear in this phase, and they could just be rats, which are not a big deal. But sometimes they are skeletons or other types of humanoid enemies, mostly other types of undead stuff. And in those cases, the skeletons can also pick up power-ups because they also move when you move it. Move when you move everything. So if you're not careful, you can end up making your enemies extremely strong. The food power-ups are healing, but they can't heal you above your max hit points. I'm not sure if that is also true for enemies. And each stage, every time you make a combination or pick up an item, I think, you gain a little bit of experience. Which, when you level up it increases your maximum hit points. But the goal is to get to level 6, and it might just be because I'm not great at this game. But I never got past level 4, near the end of 4 on the first stage, because shit just gets too full. I feel like in 2048, you're not usually supposed to end up in situations where there's absolutely nothing for you to combine, because there's incompatible stuff in between everything. And also, every time you move it, as it's moving, a new thing appears somewhere on the board. So tough luck if you were trying to line two things up to combine and something appears in the way of one of them. But yeah, the gameplay is honestly very simple mechanically, but like complex to do a good job of, which was not helpful to me because that's why I couldn't finish even the first stage. But from what I've seen, the specific enemies change, but the general idea doesn't really. So I don't know. The art is it's very gothic style pixel art. The music is also kind of gothic and mostly low key. I usually had it down pretty low, and you could still hear the enemy squeals when they die and stuff. So that's appropriate, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if I'm just missing something about how to make it so you'll have stuff to combine more often, but I very often ended up having a really hard time getting stuff to actually combine. So I don't know if that's the game or that's just me, but aesthetically it's nice. There are only 4 stages, and all of them the goal is to get to level 6, I believe, because after level 6 the boss appears. Oh, enemies also can't pick up anything during the night phases, by the way. So if you last through a day phase, you then have an entire night phase of trying to assemble pickups and hopefully keep them away from the enemies to be able to get stronger and try again the next night, hopefully. Like, the design seems good, but I don't know if the algorithm is weird or if I just suck. You know?
I don't have an answer since...
So yeah, with a game this simple, I think a lot of the quality question, a lot of the price question, or whether it's worth it depends on the price. So what's the damage on that?
It depends.
Oh, I forgot to mention. Whenever you fight an enemy, you take damage equal to their armor, and they take damage, or your armor takes or hit points takes damage equal to their weapon, and they take damage equal to their armor or hit points takes damage equal to your weapon. But every attack halves the strength of your weapon. So you have to continually be picking up weapons, or you will find yourself just punching people.
Okay, anyway, the original Steam version is $3.99. The console versions are $4.99.
I guess that's not too bad of a price for it. It's very simple, though.
Right. As you'd expect from something from Radalakia Games.
Uh-huh.
Like I said, they have a type. Like, no matter the genre, like, exceedingly simple. Yeah, that's probably in their wheelhouse. So, anyway, speaking of which, I guess that's about it for Bone Marrow here. Be sure to tune in. Be sure to tune in after the break, as Petty Fan will be reviewing Super Destronaut DX2.
My correction, 2048 is to the 11th power.
Okay.